Welcome back to the Gold Room. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for having me again, Josh.
Mate, not a problem. Thanks for doing the intro. That saves me a job.
No, not a problem at all, mate. Love to have a chat.
Yeah, bloody oath, so do I.
Yeah.
Mate, speaking of chat, Brendan, Galt Mining Solutions, thanks very much for coming in and spending some time with us.
Josh, Scott, thanks for having me. It's amazing to get this opportunity to come in and have a chat.
Beautiful, mate. Looking forward to unpacking everything that you're doing as General Manager at Galt.
Fantastic.
Mate, we always kick off with the life and the times. Hit us with that.
So, life and times of myself. So, originally small town country kid in WA. We moved around.
What town?
Originally Mount Barker, so
Okay.
down in the southwest.
Yep.
From there, we went out to Cocos Islands, then Geraldton, Kalbarri, Karratha, and then Perth for uni, and then out to Kalgoorlie for uni, and then back to Perth for life.
So you're Curtin Uni in Kalgoorlie, eh?
Yeah, so WA School of Mines graduate.
Yeah. What year?
This is one of those curly ones. I'm a typical WASM student on that front. So I actually started working before I finished graduating.
Yep.
The typical thing of actually going back to tick the box. So I graduated technically in 2015, but I should have finished in 2012.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh, that's good. You need that on-site experience, don't you?
Yeah, it's one of those ones when I couldn't connect with that particular unit. It's one of those silly ones, you doing soil mechanics, and I'm working in a hard rock gold mine or a hard rock nickel.
Yep.
Just couldn't get it.
Yeah, okay. Beautiful.
But yeah, so from there, what I did the typical thing as a student, started working down in Kalgoorlie for a small gold mine, Kanana Bell, with Barrick at the time. So I did about 12 months there before I actually then took a grad position before I'd actually graduated, which was one of those the times of the industry where they were all short of engineers. There wasn't that many coming out from the School of Mines at the time. So took a role down there to get my underground time completed. So working through the various positions as you do to get your certificates. So spent the normal time doing charge up on the jumbo on the long hole rig, and then some time with an air leg miner, which was
Awesome.
a pretty awesome experience.
Did you had to go on the air leg?
Yeah, had about 5 months.
Wow.
Down there working in the gallery straight with a couple of the old boys, which was...
You enjoy it?
I loved it. It was
Awesome, man.
Amazing experience. And it's that real connection into the industry as well. You can say you kind of understand and get it as a mining engineer, but unless you're actually down there and you talk to the guys and you learn from them, that's where the key kind of learnings kind of connected back to you.
Yeah, we hear that all the time. That's never a true word spoken.
Yeah. And then from there, working in a nickel mine, we did the typical things as a mining engineer. So, working through the vent officer duties, the production engineering duties, planning engineering duties and the like, up until the nickel price crashed out, which was back in 2013, 2014. Yep. We ended up wrapping up a couple of the mines there, made redundant at the time, which was the logical kind of ending of that chapter.
Yep.
From there, took off backpacking through South America, which was a nice, smooth transition as a young man to go and explore a bit.
Awesome.
From there, after about seven odd months over in South America, came back and
7 or 8 months in South America.
yeah.
Wow.
Good fun.
I've got heaps of questions to ask you after the podcast.
Mate, highly recommend it. It was
Really?
an amazing experience to go and travel really slowly and not be rushed.
Yeah, for sure.
Go and immerse yourself in that real cultural experience. Get out there.
You get Machu Picchu?
I didn't actually.
What? 7 months?
No, so typically concentrate on the northern parts, so like Colombia, Peru, Ecuador.
Okay.
Got out into the middle of
How long did you spend in Colombia?
about 2.5 months.
Yep.
Yeah, just was one of those ones where we were like, I'm denied about.
Who were you travelling with?
My partner at the time.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
So we ended up coming back when one of her relatives passed away.
Oh.
So we kind of cut things a little bit short.
Yep.
Intentions of going back, and then met up with a couple of guys and ended up joining a company to launch a mining technology company into the industry, which was pretty cool.
Awesome. Where was that?
Based here in Perth.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so originally it was working with a new or an alternative rock breaking technology. So that was using thermal fragmentation to break rock instead of explosives. So it was a bit of a unique one that came out of Canada. And then, we got the first trials away here in WA.
Are they still, is the company still active?
The company itself, I believe, is still active. The technology for thermal fragmentation, we didn't continue pursuing that here in WA.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Are they still doing that anywhere else?
I'm not sure. I haven't actually kept in touch with it.
Oh, well, I might have to look that up later on.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a range of technologies we kind of brought through, from alternative fire suppression systems to proximity control systems, a bit of work with laser cleaners and the like.
Okay.
So, yeah, a few different things.
So-
Keep yourself busy.
So massive range of experiences there, both mining projects and then even you talk about your travel and everything in between. So with all of this, what parts really stand out to you that help shape you as a leader now, would you say?
Look, I'd probably say it's that, realising that learning's a lifelong process. Like you can never just think, look, I've finished that degree, I've got that piece of paper, I'm done. There's no more learning that needs to be done. I'm really big in terms of picking up other podcasts, other material that's there. You maybe call them self-help books, I guess. They're out professional development, leadership and the like, and finding different ways to communicate. I really find that the communication piece and how you actually connect and tell the story with people is a really critical part. Even looking back at like the cohort of the guys that came through uni with me at the time, it's the ones that can communicate, can tell a story, can shoot a bit of crap with the guys and actually connect and get people to buy into what they're trying to do. That's the ones that have gone on to have those more senior leadership management positions and the like. And then there's the guys that are really super technical and they're really excellent at their jobs, but they maybe don't suit that forward-facing kind of role.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with what you said more. There's so many things you touched on there, and very different background that I have, but the exact same principles, although very different roles. Exact same principles that you need to have those interpersonal skills. You've got your technical guys, brilliant individuals, just as important, make up that different role that needs filling, and then you've got that other sort of leadership side, and it's all about how they can win over not just an individual, those different types, so they can not change not be true to themselves, but they're able to adjust how they approach certain situations with certain individuals.
And design and develop a team from there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's important.
That's
awesome.
a critical piece, especially with any small business, is the team of people. You're only as strong as the team that you've got.
That's exactly right.
Working out who works well with each other, which personalities drive the outcome that you want to create. It's really quite a critical piece.
Yeah, and the other part you said that I think is absolutely bang on, and I agree with completely, is just that continuing develop, continue to learn. As soon as we sort of stop and go, nah, I think I'm full, I think I know everything, that's probably the time to
Stop
either
what you're
pivot and go somewhere else, or it's retirement time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's when you typically find those guys that have stopped learning effectively. They start to develop a bit of an ego about things as well. They know everything about a very small, topical subject matter experts there. Yeah. And it's such an awesome industry, right? We've got so many.
There's so much to learn.
Amazing pathways you can take, and that's one of the kind of the unique things that I found, especially with a mining engineering degree from WASM. You're not necessarily stuck just being on site. You can go down a pathway into the finance space, into like project acquisitions, DD, mining service supply businesses. There's so many different aspects that you can take it.
Any advice to someone wanting to thinking about attending WASM?
Look, embrace the experience. Treat it as a job. Some of the guys, all guys and girls being the collective there, that you'll be with, they will be your peer group as you grow older. So it's amazing the amount of roles and opportunities that come around just by being a part of that. And if you're only as good as your last job, effectively, in the consulting space. So you keep that network strong. You don't be a dick. It's really quite a simple thing. Like it's a number one rule in life, right? Don't be that kind of guy. So you just, keep maintaining your reputation.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the thing.
Mate, tell us about your role as general manager and the skill set that you bring to the table.
So my role as general manager, so I'm a mining engineering background, as we mentioned before. Yep. We have a team of about 25, 26 at the moment, and we're obviously looking to grow that. Typically, my day-to-day is around bringing in new business leads, coordinating our team, working out problems with suppliers. Life is always full of problems. Yep. So ideally, trying to find the better problems to solve and, trying to keep our team developing in the right direction.
Beautiful.
We operate a little bit differently from typical consultancies as well, whereas we don't have middle management at all. So we use a software tool to basically project manage all of our tasks and all of our clients.
Was that designed in-house?
It was leveraged out of the software industry from the Atlassian tools, Jira and Confluence, typically. Oh, yes. So they're used predominantly for developing software. And then the team or the ownership group behind Galt basically put together a bit of an ethos and philosophy and how to operate without having the typical problems that we see with middle management coming through. So there's it's pretty open and transparent, which can cause a bit of a learning curve, I guess, for the first people coming into it. But by being everyone can see exactly where everything's at. So you know that if you're getting blocked or held up, you can keep communicating with the team to make sure that you've got your fingers on, multiple projects all at once.
Yep, beautiful.
So it makes life easy from my side of things, as long as everyone's putting in good information into the tools. It makes it pretty easy to manage.
Yeah.
Important.
Sorry, mate.
No, I was just saying that's important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you've touched on something earlier that was a great valid point. I agree. I was, nodding away when you said it about, the team you build around you. You can only be as strong as your team, sort of thing, and that's really important. Obviously, as general manager, you would have come across many challenges. So, how is it that so the big challenges, I guess, you faced, and then how did you work through them? Was it relying on the team? Was it having to step away?
So look, probably the biggest challenges is that are trying to. I'd never really worked in exploration before I came into this role with Galt. My previous role after my own companies was as a BD manager for another consultancy. So really working out what the key drivers are for those clients, and sometimes it's as simple as personalities. So because you're working in the junior space, typically quite small teams, the MD or exploration managers are quite hands-on and involved with that. And so if you put the wrong personality types that are there in the room, they're not necessarily going to get the right results for the client that's there. And you want people that are going to come in, be effective, and hit the ground running versus coming in having to learn the whole process on the job. Yes, there's a space for newer entries into the market in terms of people in the early stages of their career, but it's also important when you're a consultant to come in, hit the ground running, and lead from the front.
Brendan, let's talk tech. Get into BoxScan, mate. So that's an in-house designed technology?
So it's actually a technology out of the UK by a company called Geotech. So they basically have a history of doing oil and gas scanning systems to basically analyse core and samples and the like. So we were one of two people in the country that have got a BoxScan system. One's with a mid-tier gold company, which scans their samples on site, and we offer it as a service based in our West Leederville facility. So it's a unique tool that basically captures point data using common off-the-shelf tools. So things that we typically pay a consultant geologist or a field technician to walk around and point by hand, we put it in an automated machine, and it basically goes through and collects all those samples at the same point all by itself. So it's a unique way of capturing a lot of really high quality data and being co-registered to that point where the MagSAS, the ASD, the XRF is all taken at that same point. So when you then go to plot it out, you have data that correlates back to it. So it's really, really quite important to get that combination of information for the geos to then take that. And
is that something that junior companies are doing, or is that something that you can provide for mid-tier mining clients and above?
Look, it's relevant all across the industry, and a lot of the larger clients are doing some of these handheld tools by themselves. So they'll go around. XRF has been around for 20 odd years. Yep. It's almost common practice, but it's then combining those in a way that's automated and repeatable as well. Because you're not having to go through that process or the interpretation of a geo going, I like that bit, so I'm going to put it on that part of the core. It's selected part of an automation that's there where it basically selects its own kind of key points, and then our technicians come through, adjust it. You can come back and then put the same tray on 12 months later and get those same results again.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So you've also been involved in the Benz project. So what about the Benz project was particularly unique, or what stood out to you about that job?
Yeah, so the client there, Galt Mining, they picked up some of the Spartan Resources assets that were there late last year. So they picked up the Glenberg and Mount Egerton projects. We've been heavily focused on the Glenberg project recently. So we went through and scanned a lot of their legacy pulps, RC chips, soils and the like to help them reinterpret what they thought was going on geologically there. And as a part of that, they've then taken those learnings and been testing that with the drill over the last couple of months, and it's come through to the point where they're now recently announced that they've got a discovery there based on this reinterpretation.
And what a time to be in gold, right? You know, what was once waste material, 0.4, 0.5, 0.7 is grams per tonne, and now you're looking at it's nearly viable.
Yeah, it is. If it's close to the surface and you've got a processing pathway that's there, like it's pretty achievable to be able to turn some of these probably more marginal projects on. It's one of these things that a lot of the companies that we're dealing with have probably had these legacy assets, the 20, 50, 75,000 ounce projects that have been just sitting there in their back pockets and not really been a core asset. That are now, taking these opportunities to convert that into cash flow for the business. And a lot of the juniors are now becoming self-funded explorers as well, which is an amazing kind of see to, this journey from small conversion of resources into little mines may have a short runway, but it allows them to carry on for their bigger play that they're trying to make in the area.
Yeah, wicked. Mate, how do you keep your team? And you said 26 staff?
Yeah, roughly.
Wow. How do you keep your team motivated?
How do we keep them motivated? Keep them entertained and engaged. So we're quite lucky in the front that we've got a lot of different aspects within the business as well. So they're not all. This is going to sound bad, but we're not all in gold. So there's opportunity.
Mate, we're not all in gold either.
No,
the gold room was just a name that we came up with because I didn't want to call it like the iron room sounds like a dungeon, or the lithium room sounds like a mental institution, right?
Or the nickel.
The nickel was probably not the nickel room's probably not great either.
No.
So no one's actually asked, where did the gold room come from? But it's
a worthwhile question.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So we're kind of spread across a lot of different commodities. So we're not typically focused on one particular one that's going to solve it. So we've had a lot of packages of work that have ebbed and flowed over time. Obviously, as the lithium boom was over the last couple of years, there's a lot of focus on projects that are out there with probably the smaller gold clients that were looking to see if they have lithium on their projects. We've seen a little bit of a push towards some of the more boutique minerals, like recent clients looking at gallium and the like. A few of the other boutique kind of ones that don't really have a mass market that's there. But it's quite interesting to kind of see as the industry and the market dictates how these juniors pivot to basically position themselves to be able to pick up shareholder value.
Yeah, beautiful.
So obviously, Galt, you guys have your Discovery Centre based there in West Leederville. So what's the benefit of having that in-house capability located nice and locally, and how does that benefit your clients?
Look, we're so uniquely.
Good question.
Yeah, it's a great one. We're extremely lucky to have that asset. It's 1,300 square metres of storage space in West Leederville, brewery on the back door. So which is
what brewery is it?
It's the other side.
Nice. We got
so I'm the only one that doesn't have a brewery at the back.
Yeah, pretty much, mate. We got a brewery a couple of doors down. That's
I have a small beer fridge, and that's as far as I go. But I've got to lift my game.
You can't really go wrong, right? No. So we've got a large front storage area for all of our clients. We store all of our gear there for the exploration side of the game. So all of the vehicles, quad bikes, trailers, the like. And then we've got core racks out the back. So your typical core processing facility that you see on a mine site, automatic and manual core saw. So we can cut and process samples there for clients to send off to the labs. Yep. And then we have our BoxScan there as well. So it's awesome. pretty unique little place. It's 7 minutes walk from West Perth as well. So we see a lot of the clients use it to come down and supervise the logging of their core or the samples, or if they're bringing in, say, met consultants or structural geologists to look at specific aspects that are there. It allows them to then also, get that buy-in with their management team or their shareholder stockbrokers to bring them down, come have a look. We are actually doing something, which is quite a unique space to be, rather than having to come 45 to an hour and a half away from the central part of the business district.
Yeah. Well, so to wrap that up then is you've got the brewery attached to the back, so that would probably be the biggest benefit to the clients. Or is that, sorry, was only my taking up?
No, mate, that's right. You take them after work's been done? You've taken them over to the brewery?
We obviously can't promote that we do that, but we...
Of course we don't. Yeah.
I think everyone in the industry likes a beer, so it's
a couple of frothies.
It's a natural kind of way to take things, take the team around.
I'm looking at going down that way now, and I, to be honest, have absolutely no way I could utilise your thing, but you've got a brewery there, and I'd enjoy to have a beer with you, so I'd head that way for sure. So I'm sure if you've got work there, the guys will come screaming.
Yeah, come down, have a look.
Friday would be a busy day at Galt Mining Solutions,
There's a few guys that don't mind going off for a beer afterwards.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Mate, so you have worked both nationally and internationally. What's some key takeaway points that you've had from working overseas?
Look, it's that communication piece, right? Like, especially if you chuck in a few language barriers that are there. I've only done a small packages of work ad hoc in terms of consulting work overseas, and it's usually you're brought in to solve a specific output. So making sure that you're trying to deliver as much as you can whilst you're there, and then following up. It's the key kind of thing is maintaining communication and maybe simplifying your language a little bit as well. You don't need to be so technical at times, especially if you're
That'd be hard if you're an engineer. You know,
I don't
you have to dial it back a little
mate,
bit.
I wouldn't call myself a typical engineer. I've probably been in the sales side and BD for a longer part of my career than on the technical tools.
Yep.
Okay, so from where you sit as as GM, what sort of trends do you see emerge in the mining sector, and what would you suggest to people? Where should they be looking? What areas do we really want to keep our eyes on?
In terms of commodity or in terms of projects or?
Yeah, well, let's say in terms of projects, which I suppose in a way could lead to commodities, right?
Yeah.
Is that-
So I think the kind of key thing we're seeing at the moment is the industry moving towards those smaller gold plays that are there. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of activity still happening in the mergers and acquisition space, a lot of consolidation around trying to convert into obviously access to processing infrastructure as well.
See a bit of that at the moment.
So you can actually see them trying to start to realise some of their opportunities that are in front of them. I don't think
Toll treating is going to be a huge one.
Yeah, I think toll trading is still going to be there. I think there's going to be a few of the other juniors that might try and join together to have one central, hub and spoke with a mill tied into it. If they haven't got a pathway to be able to get it processed, and you're wanting to try and find a way to do it more cost effectively, the JV or M&A is definitely a way to add value.
Yeah, beautiful. Mate, we've got a couple more. What's next on the horizon for Galt Mining Solutions?
Look, we're pretty aggressive on our hunt and desire, I guess, to grow as a business. So we're uniquely placed to basically leverage and help our clients. So as we keep getting the opportunities to step up, put people in the field, look at resources, look at some of the mining optimisation studies, work that's there, we are actually looking to try and double our workforce over the next 12 months.
Double your workforce,
which is
wow.
a big cry in terms of the industry. Like, it's a big target to try and hit.
So you're reaching out to who are you looking for? If this was your Seek ad, who do you want to contact your business?
Look, we probably typically qualified geologists and mining engineers. So anyone that's got that 3 to 18 year kind of experience that's there, depending on what level.
That's a
huge gap that's there. So we've got junior roles that are there where the guys are going out supervising on the rigs, all the way through to resource geologists and database geos as well. And the mining engineers were typically looking at more around the study space as well. So pit optimizations, resource, fatal floor analysis, and due diligence kind of work.
So those roles, obviously a lot of them will be office-based. Do you have some of those roles available for working from home?
Look, some there is potential to work from home.
Or internationally?
There is some potential international work coming up. So we're looking to obviously try and expand. It's typically the business has done more around the DD work in the past for international clients,
yep.
And then we're looking to try and expand a little bit. No real desire to put people overseas, but if the opportunity is there and we've got the skills and the team to be able to deliver on it, we're very keen to take that opportunity.
Yeah, I was more meaning like, and I've got a friend of mine who lives in England, and she is a geologist, bloody good one. She still does a lot of work for a few mining companies here in Australia.
Fantastic! It's a good opportunity to be able to get out there, and once you transfer that data across, you can still take a technical aspect and review of these kind of projects and look through that information. If you're skilled at resource geology and you're looking at updating a resource, there's no reason why you can't do that away from being based on site.
Fantastic! That's bloody awesome. Well, mate, that wraps up our questions for today. Do you have any parting words? Anything you'd like to say to possible investors or mining companies, stakeholders that you're currently dealing with?
Yeah, look, I'd obviously like to thank our clients to get us to where we are today. Like, it's
awesome.
pretty amazing, and our team for all that hard work that they put in on a day in, day out basis to keep delivering.
Yeah, beautiful.
Really, really, really lucky to have the group that work with us, and looking to add a few more to that, which would be great.
Awesome, mate. Well, I know Dimitri's, when you said 26 staff, I know Dimitri was sitting there thinking, oh, there's 26 new subscribers to the channel. So,
I can only hope we'll keep pushing it with the team.
yeah, mate, thank you very much. So, look, Scott, thanks very much for coming in, spending the
Not
time
a
with us,
problem,
mate. Much appreciated. Brendan, wish you all the luck. Can't wait to speak to you in the next 12, 18 months, see where the business is, and I'll be holding you to bloody 50 staff members, mate. So, 25 to the books will be bloody great.
It'll be huge if we can get to that point. So,
Yeah.
look, Josh, Scott, thanks very much for your time. I
Not a
appreciate
problem,
this
mate. It's
opportunity.
awesome having you
to
in.
come in.
Yeah, cool. All right, everyone. Thanks very much for tuning in to another episode of The Gold Room. Don't forget, like, subscribe, ring that bell if you want, and see you next time.